calling from a 913 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from? We'll definitely do it on TMBS.
Hello, I am Scott from Kansas.
Hey, Scott, what's going
on?
on?
And I wanted to talk to you about the current situation with our dear friend Alex Jones.
Yes, what about it?
And so I've looked at many perspectives on his internet death penalty deplatforming, and I've come to the conclusion that there was nothing legally wrong with it, but I feel like in principle, these companies shouldn't have taken that step to give him the death penalty internet-wise, because there is, on principle, there is a free speech issue.
No, there's not. Plus, let me tell you what I feel like I'm not trying to be rude. It's just we've said this so many times, and if anybody has anything new to add, we can add it. But here's what it is. And also, I got to tell you, I'm not totally thrilled about the melodramatic death penalty language. Not having to tweet is not getting the death penalty. But
wait, is that who's calling it that?
Well, he's saying it gave him the social media death penalty.
Oh, just
the caller, yeah.
Oh, okay,
so I'm not sure. I'm not thrilled with that.
I thought if Alex Jones was going on, I'd be like, yeah.
Well, that would be funny if he was doing that. But here's the thing, man. These companies are under no obligation to respect anybody's free speech because they're private enterprises. And that's a problem because these platforms obviously have huge implications for business, for journalism, for people's communication. And the way to fix that is to nationalize them or make them somehow under public control, in which case First Amendment.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah. So that's the real answer.
That's where I stand. We need an internet bill of rights to make these platforms abide by the First Amendment. And
we need to make them not private. That's what we need to do. We don't need an internet bill of rights. They need to be either put into, some type of hybrid public-private utility, or they need to be fully publicized. And then, by definition, constitutional protections will come in. Right now, they don't. And that's a total spin and bullshit.
Yeah.
Right now, Alex Jones saying it's a violation of his free speech is literally the direct equivalent of me saying that Alex Jones violates my free speech on a daily basis by not having me as a guest on his show. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and it's fun to watch.
I mean, I wasn't saying free speech as in First Amendment, but I don't like what you say, but I'll have to fight for it to the death for your right to say it. That kind of.
But that is the First Amendment. That's what I'm that is again, it's gotta be I think we gotta be a little bit legally rigorous about this because these people have so distorted and used that talking point to create so much dishonesty that we need to have some precision. And if we want to solve that specific problem, and a lot of the specific problems that all of the big tech firms pose to our information, to our, privacy and all the rest of it, there's a policy intervention there. But this frame that everything from I lost a blue check mark to college kids are protesting me, it's my free speech, is a lie. And yes, the left could have responded better to these things in some ways. And it's my sort of general inclination to not worry about shutting down a campus speaker or whatever. But that's not free speech. It's not.
Yep. If you want free speech, move it into the domain where the First Amendment actually applies.
Right, exactly.
Also, it's fun to watch all these fascists like Baked Alaska come around to that position based on their own experience with this. It's
And don't worry about fight for their right, to the death for their right to say it. They would never do the same for you. And we're in a political war with them, and they're totally cynical. And even Richard Spencer, we played the clip over a year ago. He said, I'm not actually supportive of free speech, but we use it for our advantage. So, yes, we have a more principled commitment than they do, but don't be naive about who they are.
Yeah. I mean, I know Alex Jones would never fight for your right to make fun of him relentlessly.
That's the truth, exactly. Thanks for the call, brother.
Yeah, on September 5th, Jack said, Twitter cannot rightly serve as a public square if it's constructed around the personal opinions of its makers. We believe a key driver of a thriving public square is the fundamental human right of freedom of opinion and expression. And Felicia Day quote tweeted that saying, a public square is owned by the public. This is a money-making venture. You use our freely given information to pay yourselves. This is a ridiculous comparison, a coffee shop would be expected to throw out racist abuses and harasses for the benefit of the customers. And that's the thing. That Jack tweet is him saying, nationalize us.
Yeah.
If you want to be a public square, fine. You can we'll make you into sort of a Wikipedia type model.
Yeah, I agree,
right?
Jack.
Like,
boom. I agree.
And to be honest, that would seem to me a good end of life for a corporation.
It would also save the company, because the other funny thing about Twitter is you know what? If Twitter made a huge business mistake by becoming a publicly traded company, because the reality is you know what? Sending public text messages, which is basically what Twitter is, right? I think it gives you about $2 billion a year or a quarter in profitability. And it employs I don't know, a couple hundred people. That's pretty good. And that's all it's going to do.
But then you get...
And so the pressures to make it something more than that, which never achieve, are actually what threatens it as a business, is the shareholder pressure.
Always the way. That's why Wikipedia is great.
Right.
But then he wouldn't get to be in charge, because when you have as much money as this guy does, it's not about the money for you. It's about the power. It's basically monopoly money for him.
You know what, though? The Jimmy Wales Wikipedia thing is sort of an interesting counterexample to that, because he still has a fair amount of control over that.
Yeah.
And it's also the sort of integrity of Wikipedia has been consistent.
No, it's been super
these
resilient.
money-making public traded companies, it's clear that the investors are in there saying let's frack this data. Let's do everything we can. Of course, we're not going to take the Nazis out. There's a bunch of them giving us engagement, and all this money. It wants to be. It doesn't really care about profitability, like we talked about on TMBS. It wants the market dominant player. They want their money in it, so they can be in part of the monopoly. So you nationalize it. Simple.
But
Simple.
you do give up some of the power.
Yes,
we were talking about this on Antifada this weekend. What would we do with Elon Musk in a socialist society? And
Nothing.
I think he does have some good ideas to contribute. He's clearly a smart guy. He's good at engineering. Should he be in charge of shit? No, but he could still work at Tesla after we expropriate his company, assuming he's willing to play nice.
Yeah,
you know?
they just need to be put in their place, right? They need to be.
Elon Musk's pretty useless, though.
But think about him as a glorified government contractor. I'm fine.
Yeah, but he needs to be mid-level management.
Sure.
I kind of see some daylight, not daylight, but I see some positive in Jack kind of making the appeal to nationalize Twitter. For him to say, for one of these leaders to say, I can't do this.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elon Musk is fucking miserable. He would be so much happier if he weren't looked to as this captain of industry, where financial power and engineering power and political power are completely intertwined, right?
Because that's an unrealistic myth, not only that people believe in, but for people to live up to.
Right.